Eleanor here, and today I'm going to do my June wrap-up. June was a really good reading month for me. I ended up reading 21 books. Of those 21 books, there was 1 2-star, 3 3-stars, 14 4-stars, and 3 5-stars. Yes! 3 5-stars. That's the most 5-stars I've had in a month for a long time, so I'm super pleased with that. If we break these down by genre, I had 1 literary fiction book, 7 YA, 1 graphic novel, 1 general fiction, 6 romance, 3 non-fiction, and 2 fantasy, which is great because I haven't been reading much fantasy, so to have 2 in this month has been really good. Of all of those 21 books I read, 11 books were by Black authors, which is a real big step up for me because I have to admit, I hold my hands up, I have been terrible at making sure that I include Black authors into my reading, and so my reading has been very anemic this year if I look back at it. So I am making a pledge now that I am going to be consciously consuming books by Black authors with Black characters, and not just non-fiction, all across the board. And it just proves it, doesn't it, really, because 2 out of 3 of my 5-star reads this month were by Black authors. 1 was a romance book and 1 was a YA. So across genres, I just need to be reading more. If 2 Black authors have given me 5-star reads, I'm missing out if I'm not reading and encouraging other people to read books by Black authors. So I definitely encourage you, widen your scope, be conscious about it. I know we'd all like to think that we aren't racist, but we need to be anti-racist, and we need to be making that conscious effort to pick up more books by Black authors, and that is what I'm making a pledge to do, and this month was a start in that. So let's go through the books. 2 stars, Rules for Being a Girl. 3 stars, 3 Things I Know Are True, and Furyborn. 4 stars, Euphoria, Stepping Stones, If It Makes You Happy, The Happy Ever After Playlist, The Edge of Anything, Landon and Shay Part 1 and Part 2, How We Fight for Our Lives, Black Flamingo, A Princess in Theory, I'm Still Here, Slay, Anna Kay, and Forbidden Promises. And then the 5 stars went to Pet, Eleanor and Grey, and Sari. Now I have talked about Eleanor and Grey and Pet, which are both written by Black authors, and Pet has a Black main character as well. I've talked about both of those in different videos, so I'll link up now the video that shows Eleanor and Grey and where I talk about it in more detail, and I'll link up now the video where I talk about Pet in more detail. So if you want to find out more about those, and I definitely encourage you to, if you're on the fence about whether to try them, if you've never heard of them, I definitely encourage you to watch those videos to find out more. But today I'm going to talk about Sari, which was my 3rd 5-star read. This was the buddy read that me and Tracy did as part of Book Buddyathon, the readathon that I ran for the month of June. And me and Tracy were buddied up. Tracy also helped me run the readathon, and one of the challenges was to read a book with your buddy, so to read out loud to each other. We decided we were going to have Sari as our buddy read, and we decided that we were going to split Sari up into 4 parts, and that on every Saturday we were going to FaceTime and we were going to start the new part by reading some chapters to each other, and then the rest of the week we would finish ourselves that section and then start again the next Saturday, and it was just a really wonderful way of doing it. So Sari by Sudha Mapala is an amazing book. It was just truly phenomenal, and I'm so gutted that I've waited so long to read it. It's told from 6 perspectives, and it is spanning 30 years over 3 different places: Sri Lanka, India and Australia. What I loved about this so much is that there are all these characters' threads spread out, even more so than just the main characters. There's all these threads that are thrown out, and then by the end they've all been woven into one conjoining story so seamlessly and beautifully. It didn't feel jarring or an effort, it just was amazing. And towards the last 2 sections of the book, me and Tracy were going, oh, that's them, and that's them, and that's, oh my goodness, and that's how that happens. And I just love it when a story can do that for you. What I really loved as well about this is it gave us a little bit of history. It certainly made me want to go and look into other topics. We learn a bit about this conflict between the Tamils and the Sinhalese in Sri Lanka. I'm definitely going to be searching out and looking up a little bit more of that. It's not something that I was fully aware of and completely understood before I started this book. And there's definitely more that I want to learn about this conflict. So it's hard to describe this book because there is so many different characters, and if you start talking about one, it might ruin another. So I'm just going to tell you how the story starts. We start with the character Neela, and the first part is hers, and it's about her. She's part of a family where she is just looked down upon. She is of darker skin than her sister, and so she's regarded as plain and ugly and not as marriageable. So her mother's not going to give her any attention. She treats her really poorly, and she puts her sister up on a pedestal because they think they're going to get a better dowry, they're going to get a better match for her than they will for Neela. Luckily, Neela's formed a friendship with their next door neighbour, who's an elderly lady, and she's decided that she's going to go and put herself forward to become an apprentice, to be a sari maker. So in the end, she goes off and she goes to this sari making place where the people go, there's sort of apprentices that go, and it's like a school, and they have to learn the different types of sari making. So they learn about dyeing and draping and designing and weaving. And they learn that over a certain amount of time, and then at the end there's a competition to design and create and make your own sari. You have to do everything, dyeing, weaving, designing, everything, and they are then shown off in this sort of fashion show, and 2 of the apprentices are then taken on to work. So we're following that with Neela. There's obviously other things that are going on. There's threads that go sort of thread out from this, but ultimately there is this one sari which travels through the whole of this book, weaving and joining and appearing in all these different characters' sections in different ways, which ties everything back so beautifully at the end. It was just a beautiful read. Something also that we noticed as we were reading is that depending on who the narrator was, we moved between third and first person, although it was so beautifully written and seamless that I didn't often find it jarring. There was dialect used in here, so when we were reading out loud in one of the chapters, one of the women was quite poor and had quite an interesting sort of way of speaking in dialect, and that was a really fun to read out, and really gave that character a bit more personality and made you understand them a little bit more. There's also a lot of words used in here, both spiritual words, words in Indian, words in Sri Lankan, and those words are put in the back of the book in a glossary, so you can sort of flit to find out what they mean. Sometimes you didn't feel like you needed to, but it was really nice to do that, and just sort of it helped to work out what they were talking about in some instances, whether it was sort of a particular god or goddess, or whether it was a particular word that was used to mean something. It was just nice to be able to go and check those out if you wanted to. I think this book really lent itself well to being read out loud. I don't know if it has an audiobook, but I don't think it has. I don't think I've been able to find one. But it was really a joy to read out to each other and to share the experience of it all unravelling, and then all the threads coming back together, and our sort of, you know, what do you think, and our predicting with each other. It was just a really great way to do it, and the culmination of all that meant that it was 100% of 5 stars. I was crying at the end, and yeah, it was one of those books that's really going to stay with me, and in fact I've recommended it to be used as my in the real life book club book this time, and I've sent a copy to my nan. So Nan, if you haven't had it yet, it's coming your way, and I just want more people to read this book. It is truly amazing, and I think that I bought this book my first year on BookTube, which was about 6 odd years ago. And I think I bought it because I saw it on, I think it was Katrina from A Little Book Owl. I'm sure I saw it on her channel all those years ago, and I've only just now picked it up. So I implore you, pick up Sari by Sue Dharmapala. Pick up this, and pick up Pet, and pick up Eleanor and Grey. Those 3 books this month are the ones that I would book push at you. But as I say, go and check out the other videos to find out more about those, because it's definitely worth hearing about them a bit more. They are equally as brilliant, but because I hadn't spoken about this one before, I thought this was a good opportunity to talk about it. Yeah, so that is my June wrap up. Hopefully July will be just as fruitful. I'm carrying on with my Drag Queen season 1 sort of TBR, filtering out my drag queens. It's going to be a long process, but I'm enjoying doing that, so look forward to another video about that coming up soon. And I'm going to be participating in the Reading Rush. I'm just waiting for my Reading Rush journal, which I've bought off the site, to arrive, so hopefully that'll be in the next few weeks, and then I should be able to sort of start that and get a TBR up, and maybe I can show it. So yeah, I hope you've all had a good month. Pop in the comments down below if you've read any 5 stars this month, because I do look at it and I do add them to my wish list if I think that they're books that I'd be interested in too. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now, BookTube.